Good morning, everyone. So yesterday I reintroduced polynomials. Today we're going to go more in depth by talking about degrees of polynomials and explaining and classifying what type of polynomials we have. So of course our topic of today is polynomials. Our learning target. Today I can classify polynomials by identifying the highest exponent value. You will see what I mean very soon. Essential vocabulary, we went over this yesterday. Monomials have one term, binomials have two terms, trinomials have three terms. Yesterday I forgot to clarify some things. Monomials right here aren't considered polynomials because they have one terms. Let's look at the definition of polynomials. Polynomials have more than two algebraic terms, therefore monomials shouldn't be considered polynomials. So there's a difference between polynomials and monomials. But our new vocabulary for today is degree. Degree is the largest exponent the variable has in a polynomial with one variable. For example, let's look at this polynomial row right here. We have 25 negative x, 4x squared minus 3, 4x cubed plus 3x minus 2. So this 25, we already know that this is a constant. We use this all the time in class. You guys know what constants are. Constants are numbers that aren't being multiplied by x. But to explain it in math terms or algebraic terms, constants are basically when x is raised to the higher power of 0. Let's go back to our days where we learned about laws of exponents. Anything to the higher power of 0 is always 1. So 25 is the same thing as 25 times x to the higher power of 0. Therefore, it has a degree of 0 because your exponent, your highest exponent, is 0. So again, constants have a degree of 0. Now on to negative x. If you see a variable term and you do not automatically see an exponent, we always assume that the exponent is 1. So negative x is the same thing as negative x raised to the higher power 1. Therefore, negative x has a degree of 1. And this is known as a linear polynomial. We've seen this all the time. You've seen x plus 4, 3x minus 9. We know what linear polynomials are already. So negative x has a degree of 1 and it is linear. So we have 4x squared minus 3. Again, degree is the largest exponent of the variable. So if we look at 4x squared minus 3, we see that, which is the same thing as 4x squared minus 3. And since this is a constant, we can multiply it by x to the higher power 0. I see that 2 is the highest exponent. Therefore, 4x squared minus 3 has a degree of 2. This is known as a quadratic. Again, my algebra folks, we've seen this before when we were distinguishing between different types of functions. Remember, linear versus quadratic versus exponential. Everybody else, this is a quadratic because the highest exponent is 2. So 4x squared, again, has a degree of 2. And 4x squared minus 3 has a degree of 2 and is known as a quadratic. Now this last one, we have 4x cubed plus 3x squared minus 2. Remember, constants can also be written as the number, which is negative 2 times x to the higher power 0, because x to the higher power 0 is 1. And anything times 1 is itself. And we bring everything else down. We have 4x cubed plus 3x squared. Pay attention to our exponents. I see I have a 3 here, a 2 here, and a 0. Since the highest exponent is a 3, that means our degree is 3. And this is known as a cubic polynomial. Again, we have the highest exponent of 3, the degree is 3, and this is known as a cubic polynomial. So 4x cubed plus 3x squared minus 2 is a cubic polynomial, and it has a degree of 3. So our first problem, determine the polynomial type of the expression below. We have 4x squared minus 5. So with today's work, I want you guys to combine what we learned yesterday on top of what we learned today about degrees. So first things first, I want to determine the degree of my polynomial. No, hold on, y'all. I want to make sure my polynomial is simplified. What I mean by that is I want to make sure I don't have any like terms. If I do, I just simply combine them. I see that we don't have any like terms because we have a variable term over here and a constant. So I'll go on to step number 2, which is determining the degree. So we have 4x squared minus 5. Remember, constants can be written as the number times x to the higher power of 0. And then you bring down your 4x squared. So I see that I have an exponent of 2 and an exponent of 0 over here. Since 2 is the higher number, that means we have a degree of 2. And if we go back to the previous slide, a degree of 2 indicates that it is a quadratic. So I'm going to note that over here. Now going back to yesterday's vocabulary, since I have 2 different terms, that means it is a binomial. Because remember, bi means 2. So since it's a quadratic and it is a binomial, this polynomial is known as a quadratic binomial because it has a degree of 2 and 2 terms. If you get the hang of this, you don't have to finish watching this video. If you need another example, I am about to do problem 2 with you guys. Other than that, for those of you who are leaving, enjoy your day. If you're continuing watching, keep on watching. Problem number 2, determine the polynomial type of the expression below. We have negative x plus 2x cubed plus 6. So first things first, I want to make sure my expression is simplified. It is simplified because I see I don't have any like terms. So step number 2, I want to determine my degree type. So I see that the negative x has an exponent of 1, 2x cubed has an exponent of 3, and 6 has an exponent of 0. Since this has an exponent of 0, it is not the highest term, nor is 1. Therefore, 3 is our highest term. So if we go back 2 slides, when we have a degree of 3, that indicates that it is a cubic. So our degree is 3 and it is cubic. Now on to what we learned yesterday about different polynomials, monomials, trinomials, and binomials. Since I had 3 different terms, negative x, 2x cubed, and 6, that means it is a trinomial. Remember, tri means 3. So since it is a trinomial and is cubic, our polynomial is a cubic trinomial because it has a degree of 3. Oh! Oh my god! It has a degree of 3. And there are 3 terms. So I'm going to read this out one last time. It is a cubic trinomial because it has a degree of 3 and there are 3 different terms. All right, this is all I have for you guys today. Have a good day, guys.